Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we are back at it with a Wednesday episode sponsored by Gray Fox Games.
Mm-hmm.
Normal episodes.
No Jenga involved.
Nope. That was a lot of fun, though. I had a lot of fun with the Dread episode.
Yeah.
People seem to like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the jokes about it being fence climbing the game.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fence climbing. Can't have a Jurassic Park game and not have somebody climb a giant dinosaur fence.
It's true. Or multiple giant dinosaur fences.
It was just two. They just happened to be directly back to back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. Then I went out of town. I went down to the Great Sand Dunes, one of the national parks here in Colorado.
One of the lowest in terms of like turnout in the U.S.
Really?
Yes, that Nick was telling me that. Which is a shame because it's probably one of my favorite spots.
Well, that is
in
almost
Colorado.
certainly changing because we did not know this, unfortunately, and it almost fucked us. But as of May 2019, it is a reservation-only campground.
Huh.
So if you drive up, you can only take campsites that are not previously booked and only for one night at a time.
Gotcha.
So we got there, and all of the sites were taken. Yes, I don't know where that came from. All of the sites were taken.
Did Liam Neeson teach you nothing?
He did not. But the really frustrating thing is we got there at like 8 o'clock, and driving around, there were a bunch of sites that were empty, but had a reserved mark on them. And we drove around. Finally, there was one that had like the reserve sticker that was empty, and it had been reserved for like 4 days, and then was reserved for that night. And it was like, well, I can't imagine they just didn't show up for their entire vacation, and it's still there. So maybe they left early. And so we kind of like pulled up, and there were some people at the campsite next to them with a fire and everything. It was like, hey, do you know, did the people here leave? And they were like, yep. We were like, sweet, taking this spot. And then we had to move in the morning, though. And the really frustrating thing is while we were moving in the morning, a lot of those sites that were empty, marked reserved, did not get filled up at all. And it happened the next 2 nights as well. We saw multiple people drive up, get turned away, while campsites sat empty for the entire 4 days we were there.
Great.
The system is bullshit. Like, I really don't like that they did that. I think they should maintain at least some sites as drive up, first come, first serve kind of sites. But what can you do? It was still amazing. Weather was kind of shitty off and on. It'd be like really nice during the morning. And then about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the wind and storms would all blow in. And it snowed almost every day we were there.
Interesting.
It sounds about right for sand dunes at that time.
According to some people, I don't know. Like
me-
most of the times I've been down there, it has not been that way.
Half the times I've been down there, it has.
It is really bizarre. Like we went in March one year, and that was a real big mistake. We got super snowed on in March. Then we went in April. The very first time we went, it was like Megan and I's first like getaway together. Shortly, like a month after we'd started dating, we went down there for a weekend of camping, and it was in early April. And it was like 70 or 80 degrees, just beautiful weather. Perfect. And so we've always used, like, that's been just the bar that was stuck in our heads for what the sand dunes is. And it's like, oh, anytime after April, it should be like that, right? No. Apparently need to wait a little bit longer. But
especially this year.
Yeah. Yeah, this year's been really bizarre. Colorado's at like 500% snowpack overall. It's bonkers.
Everything's going to flood.
Yep. Lots of flooding. Jester fucking loved the sand dunes, though. That's the highlight. That's the main thing I want to talk about for the sand dunes is just how much Jester fucking loved it. The campsite she wasn't like a huge fan of because there were a lot of strange people and other dogs, and she couldn't go say hi to all of them because she had to stay on her leash. But when we took her down to the actual dunes where the river is and we could let her off the leash, she just tore wind sprints for like an hour straight until she couldn't hardly walk. She was so tired. So that was pretty awesome. And right before the trip, Megan bought like I want to say like a $300 sleeping pad, like a roughly queen size little one for car camping. It is easily one of the most comfortable mattresses, period, I've ever slept on.
Well, it's
still in a tent or just in the car?
It was in a tent.
Okay.
Her tent fits. We used to have a queen size like Coleman inflatable mattress, but it had over time developed at least one slow leak. And so you'd wake up in the morning and like be sitting very low in it. And as soon as you sat up, your butt immediately hit the ground.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And it was just really cold, that one, because it's just a big thing of air with no foam or padding or anything. And then because it was just a big thing of air, kind of like old water beds, when you moved, you'd like move the other person drastically. The new one's like almost entirely stuffed with like memory foam with just a little bit of space in it for air to fill and inflate it. But it was very comfortable and did not transmit motion very much at all. So, yep, had a bunch of fun. Mostly just hung around the campsite and then went down to the dunes a couple days and played around. But yeah, that was my week. What about you guys? What did you get up to?
We saw Godzilla.
Yeah, we saw Godzilla. It was fine.
My opinion on it grew after letting it sit for a day or two, because all the bad stuff sort of went away, and I was just remembering the cool things.
Yeah.
And I was reading a discussion online, and people are like, "Remember when this cool thing happened?" And I'm like, "I do remember when that happened."
But there's so much just like, dear God.
Yeah, no.
It's like, of course, that weird deep sea drone can also fly.
Yeah, no.
Or, I guess that submarine's just shooting through the air
Yeah.
or whatever. Or just so many, just so much.
So many weird things.
So much just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Maisie Williams, is that her name?
No,
The
that
kid?
was not her at all.
Oh, it was the
It was the kid
11,
from,
the
from
kid
Stranger
from-
Things.
what's-
Millie Bobby
Millie,
Brown or something like that.
Millie Bobby Brown, yeah.
Yeah. Maisie's from Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was annoying the whole movie, as was every other human character except the Japanese dude.
Yeah.
No,
Ken Watanabe I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good in basically everything.
Yeah. And everything else, I wanted everyone else to die is what
Yeah.
I wanted to happen that whole movie. I didn't give a shit about Mothra the whole time. They wanted to make you really care about Mothra.
Some people did just because of previous Mothra. Like, they're like, hey, there's that character, care about her.
Yeah, there's so much in the movie that's like, remember that thing from 30 years ago in the Godzilla movies? Wow, 50
Yeah.
years ago? I guess you better care about those, or you're not going to give a shit about what we're talking about.
Yeah. I will say one thing, though. One final dig on the humans.
Mm-hmm.
Especially during the finale,
Oh, God.
there are times when Godzilla would be fighting...
Gojira?
No, Gojira is the Japanese name for
of Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
Ghidorah?
Ghidorah. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Another dig that I just remembered at one, slight spoilers for the plot, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
At one point, they're
Godzilla.
like, we don't know who this creature is. It's like
Monster Zero.
Well, not just that too. It's like one of the characters is like, it seems like they are purposely not mentioning it in history, like everybody wants it to be forgotten, and then like 10 minutes later, I found out the name. Its name is this. It comes from here, here, and here.
And it's from space.
It is from. But just and then when those two are fighting, it kept cutting. Like the camera felt like it would literally pan from the giant monsters to a person reacting to the monsters fighting, and you're like, "What are you doing? I don't care about them.
Yeah.
Go back to the monsters because that part was awesome."
Yeah.
So.
I also like how they were doing some electronic repair in the rain with a soldering gun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, that works well.
And it was good too because a 450-foot tall monster stepped on it, but it was just some electrical thing that went wrong.
Yeah.
Something a little rain soldering
Yeah.
can fix.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's right back to perfect condition.
Yeah.
It's like movies where somebody uses a paper clip to fix a circuit board.
Yeah, it was.
But then realistically, you see Godzilla vape. So
Yes, you do. Vaping Godzilla.
vaping Godzilla only makes sense if you've seen the movie.
Yep.
Maybe.
Godzilla had a real T-Rex syndrome just out of nowhere, saving a main character multiple times. It was pretty great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm torn. I kind of want to see it just because, if you're going to see it in the theaters.
Yes.
We went-
100%.
Yeah, and we went early, so like the 10:15 showing, which was $5.75 at the Alamo. Which
I would say do that.
Yeah.
Just next week, on a Monday or even because we're thinking of seeing John Wick tomorrow. Just before that, go see Godzilla.
There's
Yeah.
no way I'm going to talk Megan into going to 2 movies tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
It's just not going to happen. So,
fair enough.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But on a better note, I saw Rocketman earlier today, and that was very good. So
Yeah, we were talking about it on Slack a little bit
Mhm.
because I mentioned that my complete lack of any feeling for anything Elton John didn't really make me that a movie.
I haven't seen the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume this one was better than that because this one was very good. I heard
it sounds like it.
That one, I heard that one was just like more by the numbers, like biopic. This one is pretty much a jukebox musical of his stuff.
Yeah,
and except Taron Egerton, whatever his name is from Kingsman. He was like the one singing through all of it, and he has a really good voice, and so he did a great job with that.
So I didn't realize, speaking of biopics and people singing and things in biopics, I read an article about Dewey Cox Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Yes.
Which then immediately made me go pick up.
You've got some real enunciation problems today.
Shut up. Made me go immediately pick up a copy of Walk Hard and watch it. But it was an article that like they interviewed a bunch of people involved with it. And one of the things that I didn't know was that they recorded like 40 original songs like in that amount of time. Like they were talking about like the writing process of writing all these songs and all the like, they got fairly major artists to come in and write these songs. And they're talking about like, yeah, there's a lot of people who don't write 80 original songs in a career. And we did it in like a few months for this movie. And then, what's his face? The main actor whose name I'm drawing, John C. Reilly.
Yes.
Sung almost all of them.
Yes.
Like he's actually a really good singer.
No,
and I did not know that.
Yeah.
So
he was in Chicago, I think, too. So
yeah, they were all pretty devastated when it tanked because it was. They think part of it was that it was right during that writer's strike, and so there weren't any late night shows, and that was back in an early enough part of the 2000s when that was a key part of building popularity and hype for a movie was going on all the talk shows. It wasn't like you could just spam your trailer all over YouTube and Facebook and build hype that way.
And Reddit.
Yeah.
You care about Elton John as much as I care about Mothra.
I do like the song Rocketman. So there's that.
That's good.
Before the showing, they had William Shatner with his interpretation of Rocketman.
Nice.
The entire thing too. That was great. It was great.
He does a really good tambourine man as well. It's pretty classic.
Yeah.
Right on. You guys get up to anything else? Mostly just working, I'm assuming.
Working and lift sucking in general right now.
Yeah, I'm just shipping beer. This week's super light. Like nothing is going out Friday.
Weird.
Yeah, super weird. Everything's going out the front of the week. I got shit jammed up my ass all Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But after that, I have nothing. We're going to do a cookout Friday that I can actually attend. They did one
for the brewery?
Yeah. And they did one last Thursday for someone's last day. He's going to Great Divide, one of the cellarmen.
Oh, okay.
And like everyone else. And I was just busy at the offsite warehouse that I couldn't even go to the fucking cookout.
That's annoying.
Yeah.
Have they gotten you more help, or are you basically still doing everything yourself?
Basically doing everything for myself still.
That's unfortunate.
How's the PT going?
Fine.
The only reason you're still there.
Yes. I'm noticing that it's getting better, which I didn't notice any real leg change. It's been sort of the same for month, 6 weeks or so. But in the last week or two, it's been feeling better. I've noticed things sucking less.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not doing any hikes anytime soon, but
yeah.
Cool. Well, let's talk about some games then. What have we been playing? Zach, did you find time for any games?
I did. Easily the most amount of games on this past Wednesday. I think Paul said he
only
played
in sheer number.
Yeah, exactly. He said he played 45 games that night, and I would agree with him because 40 of those games was Loopin Louie, the game that we played at Geekway. We found that Target was selling it, had it on sale. Normally it was like $20, but it was $6, and so he just bought two, and he was like, well, if you get this for me, I'll just give you a copy. I was like, okay. And so you had to sticker it up, and it's very shoddy quality, but then again, it's $6. So
yes,
yeah.
But it's one of those games you're like, I don't understand why I'm enjoying this as much as I am.
Yeah.
Is every time you lose, you're like, God damn it! All right, let's stack it up again.
It takes Paul 20 times as long to
log
the game than it does to play the game.
He's also logging every game of this.
It's ridiculous. We played it Friday night over here at the house, Jeff, Paul, and I. And I get what you're saying, Zach, about it like being strangely fun. Because in both of the games we played, I was the first one out, and both times I was like, all right, I can play again.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
I was starting to, I think, kind of get the hang out of it, especially after my first game. I had no clue what I was doing, and I was regularly hitting it too hard, and he'd go like straight up and then come right back down at my own.
That's one of my favorite things about it is that you can, and because he's going around, sometimes you'll do that exact same thing, but the way he was angled at the time makes him go in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, where the fuck is he going now?
But once I got out, so it was like the empty spot to my left, me, Paul, and then Jeff. And so once I got out, Paul was like, all right, Jeff, prepare to die a long, slow death. And Paul had this like really good tap that would just barely get it over Jeff's tapper and knock down one of his pegs.
Yeah. And there's nothing Jeff can do about it too.
Yeah.
So
Because once I saw that in that first game, I was able to try to employ that in my game. Like, okay, let me see if I can long, slow death Paul.
How'd that go for you?
I mean, it didn't work.
Okay.
But I did better.
That's good. So I played that. And then this past Saturday, I played Terraforming to Mars. Andrew had never played with any of the expansions, and Wes, I had given him his copy of Colonies that he bought at Geekway. So I was like, hey, we can play that. So we played with everything except for Venus. It went well. I ended up winning by like 20 points or so.
Okay.
I just had a lot of board presence that I was able to get. I don't know what Wes was doing, but Wes said he wasn't trying to employ a strategy and it did not work. And I was like, okay. I can definitely agree that it didn't work with whatever you're trying to do. Kaiser had gotten 2 of the milestones, and I was able to get 1. And then I was able to fund 2 of the awards, and it was we were on Elysium, the map. So I did the lower half of the board one, the Desert Settler, because I already had 3 or 4 things and nobody had built anything underneath there.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely claiming this one because no one else is building crap down there. And then Kaiser had decided to fund the money, the industrialist, so just whoever has the most money at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And because he ended up buying a card that gave him 3 points, I was able to get more money than him at the end. So he still netted 5 points from having that card with the award, but I got an extra 3 points out of it that he didn't. So it was, I think I was, like I said, 20 points ahead, so that didn't matter. But it's
just one more.
It was great just to be like, I take first on all of these awards.
Yeah.
And so that one, it still took 3.5 hours.
Right.
So, and then we played Welcome to Dino World after that, because I got my copy of it. It's a roll and write, and you're building a dinosaur park. I got destroyed in that one. Well, really what it was is I built my little park thing too quickly, and so I had a lot of high value dinosaurs, T-Rex and Velociraptors. I had a lot of carnivores in my park, which increases your threat a lot more than herbivores. Because we were
sounds familiar, like a lot of other dinosaur games.
Exactly. Because it comes with 2 different sheets, the light mode and then the danger mode. And I was like, which one do you guys want to play? We haven't played this before. And they're like, danger mode, obviously. And I was like, all right, fine. And you can only raise your security a certain amount each round. And then you roll a danger die. Yeah. And then if you add the danger die with the sum of
it's no death die.
No, it's no death die, but it's just a danger die. You add it with your threat, and then you subtract the security, and then if you get like 6 or more on your net danger, then your generators, which are powering the dinosaur cages or dinosaur pens, can start to malfunction. The lower ones, like if it gets 6+, then it's only any generators that are full capacity, because certain dinosaurs take more energy, but each generator can give 4 like connections to something. But then if you get higher up, like if you get up to 9 danger, every generator malfunctions and does damage to pens. And then if your pens, so like when you build a copy, it can take up 2 sides. It's a 2x1 on your map. And every time a generator connected to it malfunctions, it takes 1 damage. But after its second damage, they break out. The copies break out, and so you don't get any more points for them. But any pens next to those will also take a damage. And I had like 6 or 7 pens that at the end of the game, all of them had just broken out.
Just cascaded?
Cascaded. It was like the top right of my park was still fine, but everything else was just a mess.
Okay.
And so I got like 56 points to 93 and 111. So,
goddamn.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. They both enjoyed it as well. Kaiser said, Welcome 2 is still probably his favorite of the roll and write style of games, but this one would probably be his second favorite. So
okay.
There's definitely a lot of strategy in here because like you have your own pen thing. Everybody starts with the same empty park, but then when you're drawing, like it says the T-Rex is like takes up 6 spaces. You choose where those 6. It could be a giant line of 6 spaces. You could be wrapping it around the lake, or you could just do like a 2x3 off to the side. And so, like your choices that you make will greatly influence how you're directing them, and if you're trying to go for certain objectives, because everybody has objectives in between them and their partner, or not partner, just the person next to them.
Yeah.
So between you and me, Adrian, there would be like 3 objectives that only one of us can go for, but once you achieve it, you take the card so the other person couldn't get it. So it's like welcome to in that regard.
Right on.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. Looking forward to playing that again. I'm getting Paul to make some laminates for me.
Nice.
So get some of those wet erase markers. I want the super fine ones too, because it's when you draw your pen,
seems pretty tight drawing.
Because when you do your pen, it's like draw your dinosaur that's in there.
Yeah.
And it's like you can use the letter if you can't figure out what dinosaur you put in there. But I will definitely make everybody who plays like attempt to draw something in there every time you do it. So.
Yeah. That's the rules. Or you take negative points.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. Well, one other thing, but we'll talk about that at the end. So people who don't care about Kingdom Death can just skip over it.
Yeah. Right on. For myself, I actually got to play a few games despite being at the sand dunes during game night. First up, right before leaving, so last Monday, because we recorded on Sunday night. Yeah.
Yes.
So Monday, in the morning, while Megan was sleeping after her night shift Sunday night, I had a couple people over and we played Brass. We played the original Brass, aka Lancashire. It was a bunch of fun. It was everybody's first time except for mine. And overall, it went really, really well. Ben, he'd been wanting to play it for a while because he has it still sitting in Shrink and he wanted to learn it. And then Blaze and Mike Jones were able to come join. And so we played the 4-player game with them. Blaze ended up winning hugely, bigly. And he did it because of something I said in the rules teach where he was like, oh, I'm going to do that. So I'd mentioned that the shipping, building the ships, you don't really do anything. As soon as you build it, immediately flips. And they're worth a lot of points. And that if you could build a level 2 ship in the canal phase, then you would get a score 18 points for it in the canal phase, and then another 18 again in the rail phase, at the end of the rail phase, and that I'd never seen anybody do that, but that it would be worth a ton of points. And he said later that as soon as I mentioned that I'd never seen anybody do it, he was like, that's what I'm going to do. And so he set out to do that. He had a really late start because of it, because he spent a lot of his early turns developing, but he spent so much canal laying to get down to one of the docks where you can actually build the ship that he had a really good network for the docks. And then after those got wiped, he needed to do it again. And so he actually built a really good rail network. So not only was he getting crazy points from his ships, he was getting a lot of network points as well. So he did very well. I ended up coming in third. Second, third, and fourth were all very close. I think we were all within, 8 points. And it was nice, though. It was really good. I still really like both brasses, Lancashire and Birmingham. So it was nice to get to play that. You guys got back from Geekway and gave me my Tokyo series of games from Jake. I traded him Great Western Trail for the Tokyo series. And so I played a solo game of Tokyo Metro, which it's definitely not meant to be played solo. Like this, they have rules for a solo one, but I don't feel like I got anywhere near the full game experience playing solo. So I would like to play with at least one other player. I think even a 2-player game of Tokyo Metro would be really interesting. But it's got some really cool mechanics about how you move your person along and you're trying to where you're trying to build stations and then getting trains running, and whether or not you're actually like starting the company so that they'll continually run back and forth along the metro, or whether you're just getting it to do one run there and back, and some of the different things you're hoping to accomplish with the type of run it's on, and just really seemed like there's a lot of interesting mechanics there. So I want to play a full game of it. While we were camping, I took the whole Tokyo series, and Megan and I ended up playing a few games from the other two small boxes in that Tokyo Shida Bianchi or something like that, and Tokyo Jutaku. So Jido Han Baki and Tokyo Jutaku.
The vending machine one and the
like
puzzle-based one.
City, like house building or city building. So, yeah, I'll talk a little bit first about Jutaku. That one is the simpler of them. It's a big box full of irregularly shaped wooden pieces. And you build a grid of cards that are all different plots in the city. And you have a little architect that you're moving along and choosing which plot you want to build. And then it's a real-time dexterity. So basically, once everybody gets their card, you all wait and say, okay, go. And then you reach into the center where there's a big pile of wooden blocks, and you're pulling blocks out. And based on what your card will tell you how tall your building has to be and how many pieces it has to use. And so you're trying to use these irregular shapes to make them fit in very weird irregular shapes on the cards and be the first one to finish your building. When you do, you yell Jutaku or stop, and everybody stops. If you built it correctly, you get to set it aside, and it counts as money later. Each card has a money value on it. And then you move your piece, and anybody else has a choice to keep working on the building. Like, they have to clear their buildings, but they can keep the same card. Or if they're like, well, fuck, that card was really hard, let me put it back and move and get a different one. And you play like that until somebody has completed 4 cards, and then whoever has the most money at that point wins, which may or may not be the person who completed all 4.
Okay.
That was a really fun one. We had these 2 waitresses at a really small, like, hole-in-the-wall diner down by the sand dunes, like, both coming by and asking us questions about it. 'Cause, like, they'd clearly never really seen board games, especially one so weird. But we enjoyed it. It was fun. The other one, Jido Hanbaki or Bakey or I don't know. Jido. That one, the vending machine one, it is like 20 games in one box.
Yes.
And I played the 2. It's got 2 solo games. I played those one time while Megan was napping during the camping. One of them was okay. Nothing really special about it. The other one, the rules were a little vague for a key part of the game. And if you interpreted them one way, which I played it with them, interpreting them both ways. If I interpreted it the one way, so it says, flip a card and that will tell you what type of bottle you must move. If you play that as like flipping one means you must move a bottle no matter what, I don't know how that game's how you can even win. Like, because it will force you'll get a bottle in the right spot and then draw, and that's the only one you can move of that bottle type, and then you have to move it right back out. And so that way it was way too hard, but when I played with it as you must move that type of bottle if you move a bottle, then it became laughably easy and just overall wasn't that good.
Sounds like you should just do both at the same time and just
somehow average them. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Megan and I played a couple different ones out of there. The one we played was like specifically a 2-player strategy game, but playing it was one where it was like the only way that this game works is if both people make suboptimal moves intentionally, because if you just make optimal moves, you guarantee a tie.
Okay.
It seemed like, I don't know, we had to have been missing something, but the rules weren't really clear about, again, literally anything. They crammed so many games in that small thing. That was a big problem I had with all of the ones I've been playing out of that, is that the rules are just not great for figuring out how to actually play. There's a lot more in there. There's a lot that I think would be good for game night, like little silly ones, like, flick little pieces around to knock over other pieces, or like little race to put things in a crate. Like, they're just nonsense games.
Yeah.
But those could be fun at game night when you're drinking. But the games in that one that were supposedly more strategic style games were just not good. Not good at all. So I was really disappointed by that, especially because some of the designers who designed them are people who I know design interesting things, and I didn't find their things interesting, so I didn't love that. But yeah, that's all I played for actual board games. I did play a little bit of Terraforming Mars on the computer, and all I'll really say about that is the AI, I would say, is roughly as good as my normal play group. Like, the easy AI is easily as good as our normal play group. Like, I played a 5-player game with 3 easies and 1 medium, and I barely won. And so
it's because they can't hear you complaining about how you're getting crushed by them.
Although it was funny because I was complaining about how I was getting crushed, and then I still won. So apparently
it got through. Apparently,
the transitive property of Adrian bitching.
Well, no, it's because you complained on the internet.
Yes,
on Slack,
into Slack,
and so that let it be like, because how they always watch us do everything.
Yeah,
that they're like, oh, this guy's complaining about this, so let's just make it easier.
Yes, word traveled through a system of tubes.
Yes,
but I like it so far. Yeah, I got it a few weeks ago, but had just finally got around to playing it. Megan and I are both enjoying it, though. So that's what I've been playing. Jeff, how's about you?
So I played a not board game. It's called Void Bastards. It's a like comic book art style space FPS roguelike.
You said roguelike. I am now interested.
Yeah, Zach like literally his head like popped up.
It looks fantastic. You're dehydrated prisoners on a ship where all the crew's been killed by pirates, and the AI is like rehydrating you to go out and get all these bits to like get out of this nebula that turns everyone into like weird nebula monster things. The only reason you're not a monster is because you're dehydrated and you got to not get turned into a monster because of that. Okay. And I don't know why the pirates are monsters. Maybe they're just crazy cyborg monsters or something. I don't know. But there's like a big overmap where you just go in between these different types of ships, and they're all randomly generated, and you go like to the helm and you can get the map and see where all the loot is. Everything is just nonsense items. Like,
sounds right.
Yeah. Like a light bulb, and you turn that into like a
light
stapler.
Bulbs are stupid.
A stapler shotgun thing.
As you do.
Because you're just crafting all these weapons out of like nothing.
Right.
So that's kind of like the roguelike portion of it. Your character has, when you get rehydrated, it'll have some sort of random thing.
Uh-huh.
Like you're a smoker, so you just cough every once in a while, but that causes noise.
Okay.
Or you get really excited about picking up loot, and you go, woo! Every time you pick up loot.
Nice.
Yeah. And then you have to have like food and fuel, and you die, you go back, and then you get sent back out with a new person.
As you do.
And it looks amazing. I highly recommend everyone just go look at a screenshot of Void Bastards, because the style in this game is fantastic. I saw a video of it like last Thursday. I was like, oh, this looks real good. And then I was like, oh, it comes out tomorrow. Well, maybe I'll get it tomorrow. Little did I realize it came out at midnight Eastern, which was 10 p.m. our time. And then I stayed up till 1:30 playing it.
Good God.
Nice.
Yeah, it was real good. I haven't had a chance to play it really much since then, but it is fantastic. Besides that, game night, like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, it's the last one I went to, got Cabo back to the table, which is the sort of golf-like, gamey, get the lowest score possible. We actually played on the box, it says 45 minutes. Our games at Geekway were not 45 minutes. They much faster than that, thanks to Zach hitting a real high score fast.
Real quick, yeah.
In this one, we actually had... there's a couple little special rules in the game where, you're trading out your cards and such, but the game ends as soon as someone hits over 100 points. But if you hit exactly 100, your score resets back to 50, and the game doesn't end. We actually had someone do that, which made the game go a little bit longer because the game would have clearly ended. But it was fun seeing that. I would have to look to see who won. It was Allison, me, a friend of Lance's. I don't remember her name off the top of my head. First time I had met her, and I think Kaiser. We played 2 rounds, the various people that we were playing with. I still like Cabo a lot. I'm looking forward to Silver, which seems to add a little bit more powers onto cards, where this one, it has just cards on like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then the 13s are just really high numbers.
Yeah.
And the Silver will have powers on like every card. and is a little more rule interesting, where you start with 5 and you can't call the end of the round until you've gotten rid of at least 2 cards through a doubles. Once in Cabo, I had 4 of a kind and got rid of 4 cards.
Nice.
And replaced it with 1.
There you go.
Yeah, that was I almost did it twice in multiple hands. I think I came out the winner at the end of that one, but not by much. Allison was really on my ass with multiple zeros in a row, but still not enough to pull out the win. Like Cabo. Cabo's a good game.
I'll have to give it a try one of these
Yeah.
game nights.
Yeah.
Have you tried out the new Ganz map yet? Or board thing?
Yes. Yeah, there's the new Ganz, the pretty darn clever app has the new
challenge thing or whatever.
The new board.
Yeah.
I've played a couple, like 4 or 5 of that. I'm sure you're at like 300 or 400 now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing it right now. So
yeah.
Yeah. And trust me, I didn't just ask you that because I forgot to talk about it, and so I was trying to force it upon you. It's not that at all.
I did pay the $1 for it, which is well worth it, because I didn't really like the double clever one as much.
That one got too much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, and also...
It's much heavier?
Yes. I mean, it definitely is, but in a way that made it feel more random.
Yeah.
Because how gray worked in that. It was just very hit or miss on what you were trying to do. This one is definitely simpler, but a lot more. It's still more complicated than the first one.
It's more like the first one, but different.
Yeah,
but more.
Yes, but in a way that's like I still don't know what the strategy is to get like, because I've seen people get like 370, and I got 301 once.
Yeah,
and I haven't gotten. I mean, I've gotten like 250 usually. Sometimes I'll get to like 280.
I think I hit around there on my 4th or 5th game.
But it's like yellow is still like I don't know what the optimal path is for yellow yet.
Yeah, because it's all different now.
Yeah.
Like it's similar yet very different.
Yeah.
A lot more like crisscross things, not just straight up and down. Even blue, I think, has some diagonal to it.
Yeah, no, blue doesn't have any diagonal to it, but it's just, it adds another number, but it also adds a blue thing as one of the rewards for doing it. So it's like, really, it's the same amount. It's just that they're, instead of going horizontal, they're going vertical.
Yeah.
But then like purple, instead of going up in numbers, you're going down in numbers.
Yep.
And then green is still, you're trying to match certain numbers or higher, but it switches in between. It's not just like 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, it's 2, 4, 3, 5, 1, 4, 2, 5, 1, 3, 6.
Yes, and you're trying to get that number or greater.
And orange, they did a good thing in that now occasionally it'll be like -1 on whatever it is, so you can
it'll turn whatever that is into negatives, right?
Yeah, that's times a negative.
Yeah.
Times a -1 is what it's to say. And so that's when you drop all those shit 1 oranges that you always get at some point.
Yeah, and just be like, oh, it's -1. That's the best I can do in that slot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a neat thing. It
has renewed my interest.
Yeah.
It renewed our Slack's interest. And someone's like, why the fuck are we talking about this game again? We're like, it's a new map. Shut up.
Yep. Shut your face.
That reminds me, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because it's an app based on a board game that exists in real life. Speaking of apps that are based on board games that exist in real life,
I've been
really enjoying One Deck Dungeon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know if I would actually like the game version of it, because it feels like it could get real tedious.
Gotcha.
But as an app, it's great. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
And you have said what you've wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Indeed.
That's about all I've played besides Downfall.
Yeah. Jeff and I played Downfall along with Paul. Played a 3-player game. It was a learning game, which showed in the fact that we missed a very crucial rule about transporting resources and using resources.
Or how much you can transport resources.
Yes.
But we never miss rules. We're always 100%.
I know. It's because you weren't there, Zach.
Yeah, that must be
to catch the rule mistake.
We'll blame Lyft on that.
Yeah. The other benefit is the rulebook's pretty good.
The rulebook is really good except for the setup.
The setup is complicated.
It's because they like smashed the setup and the components together. So it'll be like, there's 100 and whatever cards. Do this with all these cards. There's however many hundreds of different tokens. Put these tokens here. Take these tokens and do this and do this and do this. And it's like,
these are all the radiation tokens in the board. Now, when you've set up the board, put one of them here and then stuff around it.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bizarre way to do setup.
Yeah, and there's some sort of like resource / points allotment for how you like buy and build your starting setup. We used a quick start guide, which places everything for you.
Which almost fucked Paul.
Could have, yeah.
It ended up not, but it almost did. He was starting to complain about it real bad, and then it didn't fuck him, and then he ended up winning.
Yes.
That doesn't sound like Paul.
Because Paul and I are basically the same person when it comes to bitching about losing and then still winning.
But otherwise, as a 4X game that plays in 2 hours at 3 players,
I dug it.
Yeah.
Some of the like the exploration and some of the exploitation, like some of that's not as obviously to get it down to that 2 hour 4X, a lot of that is pretty shallow. Some of those X's, but I really enjoyed it. There wasn't a single fight the entire game, which is kind of surprising.
Yeah, I guess I could have been like the war race, sort of, because my special leader card gave me 3 free equipped survivor upgrades, which lets them do damage, but they can't gather anymore. But that card, I think, only ever got played once, so I only got that once.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's basically just 3 free iron and skips having to like build, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. We didn't look through the deck to see what the other leaders are for the colors we didn't play with, the 3 colors that we didn't play with.
Yeah, because each color is specific to a faction, or they do have a specific faction-specific leader, and that's the only real asymmetric thing in there. And
so it's real small, but it'd be interesting too, like knowing that you're going to be those guys. Maybe you would try to choose a different. Like I said, we just did real basic start, but you might choose a different area. Like, oh, hopefully I can use this card when people play this card. I can use that to upgrade my people, so I don't need to maybe get as much of the metal. I can focus more on other things, and I don't know, stuff like that.
Yeah, but otherwise, I liked how the resource system worked with the raw and the gathered, and your various events through the game of like the spoilage and feeding and fallout. And
I really like the way the deck worked. So like you start off with a deck of cards, and
it's like the 6 different actions in the game.
Yeah, and there's a varying amount of them. I think you start with like, I don't know,
it's like 2 or 3 of each copy.
Yeah,
or each action.
Gotcha.
And then they all have minor actions on there in case someone hoards all the fucking reinforced cards.
God damn it, Paul. But you draw off the top of your deck, you draw 6 to start, and then you put 2 in your reserve, and then from the remaining 4, each turn you're going to play one. You'll play one and then pass. So at the start of your turn, you'll pick up the 3 that got passed to you, and then draw 1 off your deck, and choose one to play and then pass. Or you can play one from your reserve and then add a new one to your reserve. But it makes for an interesting thing that you're passing these decks around, and you really can kind of do what Paul did and hoard all of one major action.
Yeah.
Like Jeff, you ended up with 1 of them, I think, in your deck. I had 2 in my deck, and then I think Paul had like 4 or 5.
4 or 5, yeah. Because he was just using them every time. He had 3 bunkers, and the reinforce action lets you make survivors, get some raw goods, or move the culture track up. And he was just using them every turn to just move the culture track up, which gives you a bunch of free like minor actions and victory points.
Okay.
And so he's doing that like 3 times a turn, and you get a bunch of points at the end of the game for being number 1 in that, on top of just getting points as it moves past from like 10 to 11 on the track.
But I look forward to playing it with the correct resource rules, because we were letting us just move resources from anywhere into storage when really they need to be like transported to storage.
Yep.
And that definitely would have had a fairly big impact on the game.
The little standee airships make sense to me now, because I remember building them and I was like, why do these portions like stick up on the top and then there's a little slot in the back? It's because the slot is for a resource that can be stored on the airship, and then the reason that there's like these raised up pieces is because it can also hold 2 survivors that are in the middle, so that nothing jiggles around as you're moving the airships around.
Yeah.
They, in the deluxeified version, they have airship minis, but they don't hold resources. They can't hold survivors. They're just kind of like a flying thing on a standee or on a stand. So I don't understand, like, that seems like a downgrade, because it would be cool to have your survivors and stuff actually like on it.
Yeah.
So
I agree. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have more on that as we play it some more. Getting ready to hopefully review it here in a week or 2.
Yeah.
So
get a big game.
Yep. And then you guys just yesterday, I believe, played some Kingdom Death.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about that?
Spoilers, hard spoilers, minute 1, because the first thing we fought is the Watcher. Yep. The Watcher is like the second to last boss. It used to be the end boss before the 1.5. So huge spoilers for the kind of end boss of the game.
Yes.
The Watcher was the first thing we fought that had life points. We didn't understand how life points worked until halfway through the fight. We thought the fight was going to be way harder until it wasn't.
Yeah.
We thought we had to do the life points as like a shield and then go through its AI deck like you kill everything else in the game.
Yeah, because I mean, technically, what is it? The hand or the Kingsman has life points, but we thought on there it had a card that was like he only had like 1 health, it said, after you got rid of the life points or something like that. And so we thought that was specific to him.
Yeah.
And otherwise, life was so he would take damage before getting rid of his AI cards, which is not true.
It's basically just he always has his entire AI deck at all times until his life points go away, and then he dies.
Yeah. I'm going to assume it's so you can't get rid of like inhale or exhale.
Yeah.
And not be able to cancel the other.
Yes. Yeah. He had a bunch of weird abilities. He didn't get to use a lot of them because we fucking raffle stomped him.
Well, so caveat, basically. We fought him, like, you first get access to him on 20, but it's like, it has it set up to fight him on 25, right?
Yeah, and 25 is the end of the campaign, air quotes.
And his toughness is based on whatever lantern year it is. But we, like we've said in this campaign thing, that we got to like year 10, and then we started over with like 4 of the same characters, so we were like super geared.
And all their gear.
The characters don't matter.
No, their gear really does.
The gear really did. And so by the time we got to year 20, we were like, well, we can't really get any better with what we have right now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we went to go fight the Phoenix it would only usually, or more than likely, it would only make us worse by not fighting anything other than him. So that's what made us fight. And so he had 20 toughness, which is hard, but not unreasonable. And especially because of the choices we made, like my character had 6 strength on him. Dan's character had 7 strength, and he had a hammer that had 13 strength. So if he was able to hit with that hammer, he was getting a wound on a 2+.
Yep.
And so really what it was is that Dan was able to get a lot of hits with that, and you were able to get a lot of hits with your Finger of God.
Yep. And I was like strength 7 or 8.
Exactly.
It didn't go so hot on a couple occasions because I mean he does 5. His speed was nuts.
Yeah,
like 5 or 6 attacks,
something like that.
All hitting on 2+. We had some evasion, so it would make it hit on like a 4+. But we weren't rolling. Whoever was the monster controller was not rolling poorly. And at one point, I took 20 damage to the chest. I took 4 hits to the chest at 5 damage each.
Yep.
Which overall is not the worst thing to happen, because then you just have to take 1 severe injury roll.
Yeah.
Downside is I rolled a 1 on my severe injury roll and immediately died.
Yep.
Which sucked, because that was one of our better hunters.
Yeah.
So her mom came in, because this scenario is supposed to be so like your lantern.
So consequential.
Yeah, your lantern horde in the middle of your settlement has this weird creature under it, and now we're fighting that creature.
Yeah.
And it will wipe out your entire settlement unless you defeat it. So you can bring in like rank and file survivors as like a tray of like dudes that give you extra strength, and they can attack and do weird stuff. And then also you can embolden, which lets you bring in another character if one character has died. So we had my character die, and then we emboldened, and I brought in her mom.
Yep.
Her crazy hoarder mom that we stopped using. And she was like an original, like from the previous campaign settlement that we brought over. We just stopped using her because she got hoarding, which means we get a bunch of resources and she just takes one at the end of the scenario.
Yeah, and we're like, it's one of those ones where it's like, it's not game breaking in terms of like the character, but it's just in a way that we're like, no, we're not using her at all.
Yeah. So she came in and stabbed some stuff for a while.
And so we were able to beat him.
Yeah, pretty easily.
And so when you beat him, your lantern horde explodes, goes exhausted, so now you can no longer innovate.
Nope, no more techs.
And the only monsters you can fight are level 3 or higher.
Yep.
And
but we unlocked a bunch of weird endgame stuff, like lantern research. We got a final lantern. We all have to carry lanterns in our gear grid now because there's no more light.
And there is a specific lantern called the final lantern that if whoever holds it dies, somebody has to ditch something else from them in order to grab it. So
someone always has to have it on them.
Yeah.
But now we have a special card that has like 5 levels of lantern research, which is kind of like a new innovate thing that gives us more powers, I guess.
Yeah.
And instead of passing the monster controller tile, now it's just the death die, and the death die can be used as an extra attack, or you can get
more movement or more strength in a wound attempt.
Yep.
And
it's sort of just kind of like a wild die that whoever's the monster control at the time gets and can use on their attacks, which is neat.
Yeah.
We never had a monster controller. We stopped passing a monster controller tile a long time ago.
Yeah, because we kept forgetting about it.
Well, it didn't really. Well,
it didn't. I mean,
we
it
had
mattered.
monster controller, but we were never passing the tile thing around. We'd just be like you, and just go around.
Yep.
And now the die actually matters. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole bunch of shit that unlocked after the Watcher died that I did not expect.
I didn't expect it either.
It's like, here's more game.
Yeah, and so we decided to fight the antelope.
Level 3 antelope.
Level 3 antelope. We hadn't fought one before. And so first card that gets flipped over in the long extended hunt that you have to do was like, you can go fight him immediately. And we're like, awesome.
Yeah, we didn't have to go through because the higher level monster you fight, the further in the hunt it is. And you have to go through a lot of shit, almost literally.
Yes.
To fight anything. Mm-hmm. So getting it immediately was a real bonus.
Yep. So we fought the Screaming Antelope, level 3, which was honestly harder than the Watcher.
Yes.
My character, it worked out well, and I think it happened on yours too, where so he has a normal attack that's a bite, which is fine. It's like two speed, but it only does like 1 damage, whatever. Yep. Now when he has like a shitload of extra damage and extra speed, it's like, oh, now he's rolling 6 dice that hit on 2+ that do 4 damage each, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and he kept getting extra speed tokens because
whenever he consumes grass or the grass or your wisdom potion,
which was really nice to have.
Yeah.
That we can't make another one because we can't innovate anymore.
Yep.
It let us see the top of their hit location deck, so we would know if a trap is coming up or something. So no, we don't have that anymore. But yeah, he would just pop, pop.
Yeah, pop, 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 pop,
pop, pop, pop.
Yeah,
bite your dick off.
Yes.
It's like that scene in Ace Ventura with the hand puppets. That's what. Yep.
So like my character, the sort of tanky guy.
The tanky guy. Not sort of.
Yeah.
He has no other weapon but a shield?
Yes.
Okay.
That's true. 7 armor on everything except the chest, which has 9 armor on it. And by the end of that fight, I had 1 armor left on the waist, and that was it. Everything else was heavy damage. Or heavy wounds, and I was just barely standing. But yeah, luckily on that one, we kept finding his trap, but his trap never fucked us over.
Yeah, the trap on him doesn't really matter unless someone is like behind him.
Yep.
Because then he just sort of tramples them, which is bad.
Yeah.
And then they get a disorder. I think the first time he did that, he ran over someone. It was me, because then I gained the immortal disorder.
Yeah, yes.
He ran me over, and then I think I'm immortal now.
Yep.
I don't take damage to any spots. I only take damage to my insanity. And as long as I have insanity, I'm immortal.
So you don't think you're immortal. You actually kind of are immortal.
Yeah, until you're not insane anymore, and then you're mortal.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's immortality that wears off.
Yes.
We all have immortality that wears off.
Some faster than others.
Yeah.
And then, so we beat that and got a bunch of stuff. We got the legendary horns from the level 3, so we made another spear.
Yep.
Which is okay. Like, I got the Finger of God, which gives me +1 accuracy and +1 strength if I have 5 or more survival. It has 2 speed. I roll 2 dice. Hits on a 5+, has 5 strength. Lance of Longinus, the first time I wound something with it, it has a permanent -1 toughness for the rest of the scenario, or rest of the hunt.
Yep.
The showdown. 2 speed, 6+ to hit, 9 damage. So I don't know which one's really better.
It'd be nice if you could, in the Phoenix, or the Finger of God is also, you have to have 5+ survival in order to activate that.
To have the benefits.
Yeah. Which we have 9, so it's, as long as you aren't using them, it's fine.
Yeah.
But once you start using them, you're like, I don't really want to encourage you, because then I'm going to get,
minus strength, minus accuracy. Yeah. But I mean, I was hitting on a 2+ with that spear.
Yep.
And now I'm hitting on like a 4+ with the other one, sometimes a 3+. So.
Yep. One thing that we do find funny, though, I find funny, is that Paul's character is a bow master.
Yeah.
Except if he ever gets frenzy, he immediately he has a great build for the bow mastery with the extra whatever, like combo master, and then like he can re-roll stuff and he gets
like
extra.
on a perfect hit, he gets another hit and all that fun stuff. Those are all fighting arts and weapon masteries that if you're frenzy, you can't use any fighting arts. You can't use any weapon mastery. You can't spend any survival.
And he's our survival guy because it's every time he spends a survival, because he has the leather gear, he can
roll
regenerate
6+ or 5/6+, and he gets one back. And he's like a thrill seeker, so every time he gains survival, he gains 2 survival.
Yeah.
So he can just pound using survival. He'll just do double attack every turn, unless he can't use any of those things.
Yeah.
And it becomes completely useless.
Yep. And one of the times, I think it was the next thing we fought, which was the Beast of Sorrow, which is a
level 4
white lion that is it is easier than a level 3 lion.
Yes.
Except with its level 4-ness. Because anytime it's like monster level, you take 4 damage instead of 3.
Yeah.
So one of the times that so when Paul was hitting it, because he doesn't have much strength and like his weapon, his bow mastery got him +2 luck. He was always hitting on crits basically, but he had like crits of like 6+.
Yeah.
Now he was on crits of like 9+ or whatever.
Yeah, 9 or 10.
And he got a trap that there was a clever ploy.
Yep.
And I forget what happened, but basically he ran to go get him, which caused me to get knocked down.
And you failed your tumble.
I failed my tumble, and then because I was knocked down,
it has the trait from the Screaming Antelope of trample, which makes it do damage when that happens.
And he kept doing it, and so it kept knocking my armor, on my chest. Everything else was fine, but like that fucking, like the Watcher, to just hammering on that chest, he just kept hammering on my chest, and then on his turn, he ended up grabbing me, running away, and doing 4 more damage, which included my chest again.
Yep.
And I died. I rolled a 1.
You got a severe injury, rolled a 1, and Mr. Shield is gone.
Yes.
Never hit mastery on the shield, huh?
No, I wasn't even close. But after this character, we were gonna breed him so that my next character had a level 3 shield. So he already started.
We have a innovation to where if like the mother and father, like their stats can kind of go over into the child. So that's where the shield specialization would have come from.
We didn't do that, so he just died.
Yeah, we haven't done much of the intimacy stuff, or we didn't do any intimacy.
Yeah.
Over the like 2 whole scenarios. We should probably do that if we want to continue to live.
Oh yeah. So now we're basically gonna wait, or we're gonna probably go on this one through the Gold Smoke Night.
Yes, and then we will get annihilated by the Gold Smoke Night.
Yep.
And then probably just call it.
Well, and then go on to the next campaign.
Yeah, just go on to the next campaign. Start a new campaign, but the people of the sun, the Dragon King
stuff. So
yeah.
What is in theory the final boss you could get to?
The Gold Smoke Knight.
Right now,
that is okay.
Yeah. He only appears at like Lantern Year 25 or something. It used to be the Watcher, but now they added the Gold Smoke Knight in 1.5.
Okay. Are there any expansions that Paul or anyone else has coming that would add somebody who might be past the Gold Smoke Knight?
Maybe.
I mean, so technically the different campaigns add different, like the campaign for the people of the sun, the final boss is the Dragon King is facing him.
Okay.
They're Tyrant or whatever.
Yeah, no, the Tyrant's the dude. That's the guy we fight occasionally.
Okay.
And then the end one is he turns into the dragon.
I had it reversed.
Yes. And then I think like the Sunstalker people, that whatever that campaign is called, I think that's the
I've
final
heard that
boss.
one's not as good as the Dragon one. The Dragon one is apparently like super cool because you're trying to make like gods out of as many of your survivors as possible.
Okay.
And then you go into like the Dragon's King's throne room or something and be like, hey, are we good enough? And he just bursts you into flame.
No.
Nope.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the next campaign, Paul wants to do literally every expansion. So
we'll see how that goes. Because we had heard that you want to do that one, quote unquote, vanilla, because you're trying to make gods. So if you also add better equipment to them too, it might make it too easy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We will see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. I think that brings us with most of everything we've played wrapped up. Jeff, Bloody Minute?
Yes. I played Phil with Nurgle versus Lizardmen. Game started out great. We had a pitch invasion first thing. That's a 12 on the kickoff event.
Well, it started off great, but give us your mindset into this game going in.
This
is the final of the
final of game of the regular season.
You've got your fourth seed cinched, right? So you just have to play. That's it.
Yes. Ant had texted me that he was like, "Oh shit, you don't need to win to get into the playoffs because Rulon lost and so something like that." And I was like, "Okay, I just need to play the game and survive." So game started off great. Got a pitch invasion, which I had fame. What pitch invasion is you roll a d6 for every character on the field. I got to add +1 to that because I had fame. So I would stun his characters on 5s, and I stunned 5 of them. Out of 11 characters, I rolled 5 5+. He stunned none of mine. He needed 6s. Didn't roll a single 6 for any of mine. So that started off great. I hit him a bunch, and then went to foul one of his Nurgle warriors that was stunned because I had a skink that could make it there, and I would absolutely trade a casualty Nurgle warrior for a banned skink, which is exactly what happened because I rolled a 12 for the armor, which needed no help to break. I needed 10. He has armor 9, so I needed to roll 10, 11, 12 just to break. And then I rolled a 12 again for casualty. Nice. You just double boxcars.
Murdered him.
Yes, the skink really fucked up that thing that's way stronger than it, but it was on the ground. He has regeneration on his characters, which means on a 4+, they just come back. That did not happen, but his casualty roll was as light as it could possibly be. It was you rolled d6, d8, and I rolled an 11, which is just a badly hurt, but he was still out for the rest of the game.
Right.
After that, didn't go great, as is tradition. I have a really great turn 1, and everything is trash after that.
So you've got your turn 1 down. You just need to work on your turns 2 through 16, right?
Correct.
Okay.
2 through 5 was me trying to pick up the ball over and over again and rolling reroll 1 to get the ball into the skink's hands because his team is so slow that if I got past him, it was going to be nothing. But in the 4 turns it took me to finally try and get the ball picked up, he had been able to march his pestigores and stuff to like put tackle zones on the ball, and I spent the rest of the half just trying to fight the ball out of that area till a Saurus finally got it on like turn 7, but there was no chance of him getting down the pitch to do anything. And then some skinks had gotten hit and went into KOs mainly. Had one badly hurt on a 9, which happened once more, which sucks. Normally a 9 is a KO, but because they're stunty, a 9 becomes a casualty.
Gotcha.
But you don't roll the casualty, it's just auto badly hurt. So I lost 2 skinks to that. He received in the second half, and it was another kind of real slow roll. Phil had some casual 1-die casualties against my Saurus, so that sort of started then he just posted up the Pestigore that was going to score over by my end zone, and I just spent the rest of the half trying to get to that, which I could not. I had like 6 dudes off the pitch because I couldn't break armor. I hit his like Blodge Pestigore well. All you can knock him down on is a POW. He had block and dodge, and he failed dodges like twice. I think I did 5 armor rolls against that one character. Didn't break his armor once. I only had like 2 armor breaks that whole game.
Ugh.
Yeah. From hits. Foul wise, he was doing great. He fouled out my characters like left and right. He had like a +6 foul with a dirty player. Got that Saurus right out too. Ended up losing 0-1.
But that's fine, right?
And then it was like just get in the playoffs. Apparently Ant was incorrect in his text, which I don't blame him. He had posted on Facebook like what everyone needed, but I don't have Facebook anymore, so I never read that. He was incorrect that I just needed to play the game to get into playoffs. I needed to win or tie to get into the playoffs. So ended up losing, which means I am not in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, it's not like you would have played completely different had you had known all that.
Maybe a little bit, but my picking up that ball for the first 5 turns of the game was not going to change anything,
right?
Whether I was really playing for it or not. I may have tried to pick up the ball before like I'd caged up the ball, but I wanted to foul before I tried to pick up and fail to pick up the ball because I want to get the foul attempt in.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only thing I got on an inducement was a Bloodweiser keg, which gives me a +1 to KO rolls, and then the fucking skinks still didn't come in on a 3+.
Bummer.
Assholes.
Womp womp.
Yep. So I get to play some postseason games against not vault players. I'll probably not be in the vaults next season because I doubt many people are going to be re-rolling with only one more season left before the mandatory re-roll. So yeah, we'll see where I am. My 3-1-1 going into the last 2 games turned into a 3-1-3.
Ugh.
Yeah. With Paul and Phil
not great.
Both beating me back to back.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. And with Blood Bowl all finished, the bloody minute there, that wraps up what we've been playing, which allows us to step over into the Lookback Machine. We need some kind of cool sound effect there. Like, wah, 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 wah.
Yes. You just did it with your mouth.
Yes. Perfect. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So
we'll just all record us saying wah, 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 and then we'll just layer it on top of each other.
Yeah.
So if you don't remember, because we haven't done this in 3 months, this is where we look at games we reviewed like 2 years ago.
Yes. Or in some of these cases, like 2 years and 3 months ago.
Yes.
As is the case with the first set. So back in March of 2017, we took a look at kind of a compare and contrast episode of Dark Overlord, Snake Oil, and Spyfall for kind of like party games.
Yeah.
That require some improv,
yes.
I guess.
Yes. I don't remember what we called it.
Yeah.
I could look it up, but I could not be bothered to at this moment.
So of those 3 games, have you played any of them?
Played Dark Overlord once?
Yeah, once or twice on that one. I still own it, still like that. It's still like it's just I haven't been in a position where I'm like, this game exists. But the other 2, Snake Oil, you have.
I have, yes. Megan and I have brought it a couple times to game night, but it's just never really gotten busted out.
Yeah.
I have also played Dark Overlord. I played it, I think, a few times at the anniversary or something like that.
Sounds about right.
I don't remember where, but I've somewhere I got a chance to play a couple rounds of it. Have not played Spyfall at all.
I don't know. Someone has my copies of that. I don't know who. But
yeah, you put them into the raffle.
Yeah.
They're gone forever.
No, I'm okay. I think it just sort of was played out at some point.
And it requires so much like high level interaction and like improv to make that game fun that it's just not worth it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. So
need to ask the right questions, but not too specific.
A lot of it was like people sort of a meta thing of like asking certain questions and things like that. But a lot of those people are no longer here.
Yeah,
they just all died. That's all it is.
Okay.
Does that killed them specifically?
Because
I didn't want to play Spyfall anymore.
Yes.
So
cool. So yeah, haven't really touched those very much other than Dark Overlord. Snake
Still my
Oil,
favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Snake Oil's in there, but Snake Oil's a little light.
And then
on the game side of things.
And I have Pitch Storm, which
I think I'd rather play Pitch Storm, which is newer.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I would like to.
It's in the quiver.
Yes, it is. Every week.
Yes.
So moving on in the Lookback Machine, we move a week closer into the future, or a week closer to the present, I guess. In the past.
Also the future. Also, like every
just get on with it.
Yeah, just get on with it.
Power Grid Face Off.
Power Grid, the card game versus regular old Power Grid.
Yep. I have not played Power Grid, the card game. I wasn't super impressed with it, so I haven't had really much of a desire to. I know Jeff,
because you want a board. You like the board stuff.
I like a lot of what happens on the board,
and I don't care about the board at all.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So have you guys played?
No,
the card game.
No. But I haven't had any. I have no desire to play either of them. So.
Okay.
Did play Power Grid on the like North and South Korea map with Ant and Julie in the past couple weeks, and that was interesting. But not at the 3-player count.
Gotcha.
Or at least the sections of the map we used, because those are always vital to how the game plays, because you always play with one more than player count.
Yeah.
And we sort of the way that the seven are broken up. Yeah, it was sort of like I took the one section of North Korea we were playing and kind of blockaded everyone off.
Nice.
And
it was
meh.
I would like to play more Power Grid. I know Ant has I think almost every single map at this point.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
And so I'm almost always down, especially if we planned it out. I'd almost always be down to play Power Grid. I really like Power Grid.
Yeah.
But I haven't played it. I've definitely played it since the review, but I mean, the review was over 2 years ago at this point, so it's still probably been, I don't know, a year or so since I've played it. It's not one I get to play very often.
Yeah.
But I do still like Power Grid every time I play it.
I do like the card game. It's in a nice size box. It's very easily transportable.
Right on?
I just wish they had like maybe some more power plants or something for it. That's what they've done with Power Grid. Just like, hey, here's a whole deck of new power plants. Just play with these.
Yeah.
If you want something different.
Okay. So continuing on in this Lookback Machine, another week, and we reviewed Stockpile.
Yeah, with the dice expansion, which is
Yes.
called
Continuing Corruption.
Aha.
There are also other things in there, but it's the dice expansion.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to play this in a while. I've definitely played it since the review. It's actually been really frustrating because it's been at game night a fair amount in the last couple months, and every single time I'm like,
just wait
somebody
till-
brought it. I want to play it. And then it's like, as soon as my game's like 5 minutes before my game's going to end, it starts, so that as soon as I get up, I walk over, like, as setup is going on with a full game of Stockpile. And they're like, oh, sorry, Adrian, you don't get to play.
I mean, we look around and like, oh, Adrian's almost done his game. We need to get this going now.
Yes.
So
It's in the rulebook.
yeah.
So yeah, I've been wanting to play. I still really, really like. In fact, somebody had left a game of Stockpile at game night a long time ago, and I'd posted about it. Nobody claimed it. It sat in my closet for forever, and I was finally like, "Fuck it, this is mine now. It's been here long enough. I'm gonna claim it." I put it in my game night bag. Zach picked me up, and I put my game night bag in his car to go to game night, and he goes, "Is that your Stockpile?" And I explained, like, "No, somebody left it like a long time ago." He's like, "I know whose that is." And it was gone the next week.
Yep.
The person came and claimed it. I was
Yeah.
like, no.
Finally.
Yeah. I just was waiting long enough for Adrian to get hope, and then that's when you take it away.
Yeah. Zach walked by it like every day.
Yeah.
Going to his podcast spot as he walked by the closet. I'm sure he looked down and he was like, Adrian hasn't pulled Stockpile out of the lost and found bag yet.
No,
Soon.
all I would say was just like 3 months, 2 months.
So,
But no, I played it a couple weeks ago. Still really like it. Still a great intro game for people. And every time I feel only one time someone has played it and been like, it wasn't for me. But it was just like because it was like financial stuff.
Yeah.
Even though it's very lightweight financial.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of fun.
It's probably the most played game on the Lookback Machine for some time.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Until we review Loopin Louie and then go 2 years past that.
Yes.
Then that'll be a new highest played game.
I don't know. Our last round for me of the Lookback Machine had Gallerist and Le Havre, which I have played both of those more often than I've played Stockpile since the review.
And I think both Zach and I have played Stockpile way more than you could possibly play Le Havre and the Gallerist.
You just wouldn't know because you never.
Yes.
You're always playing other games when we're doing that.
Fucks. You fucking fucks. So Stockpile still real good.
And Stockpile has a pretty decent app out as well in that
does it?
time
Yeah.
period.
Ooh.
Yep.
I'll have to look into that. Next up in the Lookback Machine, Unfair. I played this a little bit after the review, but it was shortly after the review. I have not played this in well over a year. There was another Kickstarter?
Yeah, so
Which is not delivered
It's
yet?
still not delivered yet. I think they said it would be in June or July.
Okay.
Soon. They had it was supposed to be like January, but like they had problems of cards like looking different, like colors being different, and you don't want like the backs to be different and things like that. So they had to go back to the cutting board and recut some cards.
It was July 2018 for that Kickstarter.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Yeah.
At least
I played it when at Paul's old place. I still enjoy the game. It just has been a while, and I would like to play the new stuff that's going to be coming out. So, and it's still a super mean game. So there's a lot of people that'd be like, "You're not going to like this game."
Yeah.
Just pulled up the Kickstarter for the expansion. They had an update from May 17th saying that they were just finishing things up and it should be shipping soon. So hopefully not much longer.
End of July?
I don't remember if Paul backed that or not. I know I didn't.
I did.
You did? Okay, so we'll probably play Unfair some more once that gets in, but I haven't played it in a long time.
Yeah.
Next up in the Lookback Machine, Inish.
Haven't played it in over a year, I think. Probably haven't played it since we reviewed it.
I know that's true for me.
If I played it, it was maybe once or twice shortly after, because sometimes that'll happen. We'll review a game, and if it's one we kind of like, it'll trickle for a bit before it peters out and we move on to the next thing.
I think the last game we played was with Kyle and Cameron.
Sounds about right.
Where I won.
Yes.
I won and I forgot to like declare that I had won that round because I forgot that rule that I was like, I'm going to be winning. And then you're like, no. And I was like, okay, let's play another round. And then I won more.
Oh, yeah. I definitely remember that.
Yeah.
That was a while ago. That was probably close to 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think I had won in one specific way, and then in the next round, I had won in two specific ways. Two of the three.
I thought there was a chance if somebody didn't stomp me, I would be able to take the victory, but then, I don't know. But then somehow I got stomped.
I still would have had two of the three, and you would have only had one.
Well, I think one of the ones you took was one I would have had. I don't know. Whatever it was. But there's an expansion coming.
Very soon, finally. It seems like we talked about that like a year ago that they announced that expansion. So, expansion coming soon.
And so you planning on snapping that up?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
As long as it's not like a ridiculously priced expansion.
Right. All right. So yet another one that hopefully we'll be getting to the table some more pending an expansion.
Yeah. Oh, I did want to say one thing too. I just remembered stockpile. There's going to be one more expansion for it, so there'll be a Kickstarter within the next couple months. I want to say sometime around there. So you can. I've heard it's out of stock, so you can pick up the game then.
Interesting.
So
I might have to do that, especially if they have like an all-in pledge for getting stockpile, continuing corruption, and whatever the new stuff is.
They never do that.
No, never.
Kickstarters.
No, never. They don't like money.
Make sure you get the promos too.
Yeah.
Better discount Donald, although not as
funny
fun
these
now.
days.
No.
Still a cheap bastard. Anyway, moving on. Next up in the look back.
Also last up
in the look back. You're correct, Jeff. We reviewed Clank in May of last year.
I think we played Clank. I played Clank a couple more times, and then Clank in Space existed, and I only played that once. Clank's still fine.
Yeah.
I did not like Clank, so I have not played it or its expansion board or Clank in Space.
Never played any of the weird expansions.
There are like 3 expansions for Clank.
There's like a mummy board or something.
A mummy board, like a spider board, some other things, and then there's an expansion board for Clank in Space as well.
Yeah.
I traded away, or I gave away my Clank because I was like, I have this and Clank in Space, and I think I like the Space one a little bit more. But I haven't played it in a while. I don't know. It like that one just took a while, and I was like, a little too long for a game, and I just haven't had any. But I mean, I still own it, so we'll see how it goes. But
yeah.
All right, so that wraps up the Lookback Machine. We can come back to the present. No, hey, here we are in the present.
Oh no, not at all.
That does not pass.
With Lookback Machine wrapped up, though, we are free to move on to some news and Kickstarters.
Indeed. First up in news this week, those guys that made a couple $2 billion.
2.71 billion?
Yes, the Russo brothers.
70 million away from Avatar.
And probably not going to hit it.
It's only 70?
Yeah.
Wow.
It got so close, but it's down to making like $1 million a day. Okay. And so it's not going to run for 70 more days.
Probably not. But they decided with Netflix probably giving them a bunch of money that they totally need, they're going to make a Magic the Gathering series?
Yep. So Russo brothers are going to be turning Magic the Gathering into a Netflix
I mean, I know there's some sort of lore in there.
Yeah, there's slivers.
Yeah. I mean, and I saw one person, I think on our Slack, I forget who said it, that was just like you go to hit episode 8. Looks like these are all duplicates of episode 2, so now you have to watch that now.
Yep.
And then it was Boyd, and then later he joked like episode 9 is, this episode some kid with rich parents who bought him all the expensive cards just kicks your ass. You're out of the tournament.
Yep.
But yeah, looks like it's going to be animated. It's going to take place. It's going to be a Planeswalkers one. So for those of you who know Magic, I know that Planeswalkers is a thing.
They're like heroes.
They're like characters with powers.
Yeah, but so it's not going to be Ravnica. It's not going to be, unless Ravnica is part of Planeswalkers.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's some Ravnica Planeswalkers.
Maybe.
From the Ravnica. Ravnica is like a world, one of the worlds in there.
Yeah.
That's the one that first came up with dual colored cards, I think.
Okay. I mainly know Ravnica because it was recently, because Wizards of the Coast owns both Magic and D&D. One of the newest D&D books is Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica that brought all the Ravnica stuff into D&D.
And they just recently did a Ravnica set, another Ravnica set. The Ravnica set I played was back in like 2009,
Okay.
2010, something like.
Yeah.
People were real excited about it back then, though.
Yeah. So they're bringing it. Apparently, both of the Russo brothers have been fans and players of Magic for 20 odd years.
They can afford some cards.
Yes, I'm sure they can. So they're fans of it. So hopefully that'll help make it actually a good show for people who are fans of Magic and know the lore. I don't, so they could basically throw whatever at me, and I'd be like, sure, that's a thing.
Yep.
It's going to be written by Henry Gilroy, who did Star Wars Rebels and Clone Wars.
Okay.
And Jose Molina, who did The Tick, and Jordan Peele's Weird City.
All right.
So
the Tick, like the Amazon series Tick?
I assume, but I don't know. It just says The Tick.
The old Fox cartoon series writer?
Potentially. And supervising director and co-producer is Yoraki Machizuki, who did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So a bunch of quality animation names attached to this project.
I don't give a shit about Magic the Gathering, but if it's good, I might watch it.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I'll probably check it out, I'm sure. And maybe it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So
don't want to buy any Magic though.
More it's supposedly adult themed. Looks like here joins the growing roster of adult themed animation at Netflix with traditional anime like Devilman Crybaby, Agretsuko, and Ultraman. Don't know what any of those are.
I know it all. I know what all of those are. Yes.
Ultraman should have been in that new Godzilla movie.
That would have been cool.
Maybe the next one. Maybe he'll fight Kong with him.
Yeah. So yeah, more information about that as it develops. I'm sure if it's good, we'll talk about it because we'll all watch it because we all have Netflix.
Indeed.
Next up.
Next up in news, Cities Skylines has announced a board game version.
Yep. So it's going to be a fully cooperative scenario-based game where you're working together to achieve whatever the objectives are. Relatively easy introductory tutorial scenario with increasing difficulties intended to be played in sequence. 1 to 4 players. Each scenario supposedly taking around an hour. Not a lot of information about the gameplay, though, from this release.
Now, I have a question. Like you said, there's not that much info, but can I go onto like YouTube and watch people solve traffic problems in this game like I can in Cities Skylines, the video game?
Probably not yet.
I hope so.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that, and I meant to check that YouTube channel out because it sounded like a really oddly satisfying YouTube channel, and I forgot. So,
because all it is a guy. It's like, all right, these people sent me these really bad traffic areas in their thing. I'm gonna fix it, and then talk about how I'm fixing it. And you're like, well, that sounds stupid. And then 20 minutes later, you're like, well, I just finished watching that. Oh, there's another one with even worse traffic. How could it be worse than that one?
Okay, I can get in that YouTube hole.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for no one in the know, the City Skylines has sort of taken over for SimCity as the premier city building sim video game because the last SimCity sucked. And
what was wrong with it?
It was like
everything.
It was always online. The cities were small. And you needed to play multiplayer to get these big projects that were in between the different cities done. Okay. And the servers were so broken that the resources you were sending to that city really sucked and wouldn't even get there. And it
was all real bad.
And then it wanted to use the power of the cloud to build your city, and they were just tiny little city areas. And once your city got anything going, the slowdown in your city would just become unbearable.
Gotcha.
I mean, it finally got sort of fixed, but at that point, EA just closed down Maxis, and now Maxis is dead, which sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, Sims is still living long.
Yes,
long and hard.
Well, that one makes money.
Yep.
Yeah, Megan really likes The Sims,
as do many people.
Yeah,
go to Megan. You're the problem, and then no context.
Next up in news, Pandemic got a surprise game announcement in Rapid Response, which will be exclusive to a specific retail store, which I'm thinking is
Target?
Target?
Well, do you want to say what kind of game it is?
Yeah. So, I was
or
getting
just leave it up to the imagination.
It is not a regular Pandemic.
No.
So Rapid Response is going to be a
Fuse-like.
Fuse-like game,
Yeah.
but in the Pandemic universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
The worst universe to live in, I feel like.
Yeah, shit is always going wrong
Yeah.
in the Pandemic universe. So real-time board game challenges of creating supplies and delivering aid to cities in need, coordinating and working together to react to new disasters, and basically natural disasters are affecting cities, which then will cause them to have lack of food and water, which is the perfect environment for diseases. And so they'll need vaccines and other supplies. And so you're part of the crisis response unit, part of an international group providing aid. And so you're going to be trying to, in real time, similar to probably less like Fuse and more like Flatline, the sequel to Fuse, going around and trying to solve these problems as quickly as you can.
I like Flatline, so I'd be interested to see how similar it is, but still being different.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
Yeah, one of the key differences, like you're definitely doing things. Well, I don't remember. I haven't played Flatline in a while. Is it turn based? Do you take turns?
No.
It's fully simultaneous,
real-
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's real time.
I thought that one's not.
No,
Oh.
so this one, players take turns one at a time, but they must do so as quickly as possible since the sand timer is always running. On a player's turn, you can roll your dice up to 3 times to get the symbols you want and then spend them as actions.
Oh, okay. So that sounds like Pandemic The Cure?
The dice game?
Yeah, the dice game,
Yeah.
but real time of that. So, okay.
All right.
Yeah, bunch of different characters and powers and things. It wouldn't be Pandemic without some of that stuff. But it's available only through Target and will be on shelves in a little less than 3 weeks, June 23rd.
And it had a weird announcement. It was like the rules video was like the announcement for the game's existence or something like that.
Huh.
Yeah. I can't remember who did the rules rundown with that one.
There is, on this anyway, a Watch It Played with Rodney.
Yes, that one, that was where they were like, hey, here's the announcement and also like the how to play video, and that's how you got to know that this game existed.
Yep. So, okie dokie.
Next up in news.
A lot of news. Just a lot of news.
Yes.
So it's continuing.
The next news piece that we have is Mr. Wolfgang himself continues to conquer everything. Yeah. Tavernen, none of the name of whatever city it's in, I guess.
Yeah. Tavernen. This is how I'm going to refer to it. We talked about this a while back, that it was announced that there'd be a new game from Wolfgang Warsch. This was right after The Mind was winning all the awards, and everybody was talking about it being amazing. Quacks was coming out and also being very popular. And so now we have more information about it. So Tavernen is a big box game for 2 to 4 players, coming from Schmidt-Spiel, released in March 2019. Should be hopefully coming more to the States soon. I haven't really seen much of it over here. But basically, everybody's running their own tavern. You start with 3 tables, storage area for money, beer, some special house beer, money, like a cash box, and a beer supplier outside. And then everybody has their own starting deck that includes 7 regular customers, a waitress, an extra table, and a beer supplier. And so on your turn, you're going to be drawing cards off the deck and putting them into spaces. And so the 7 regulars that you have, the customers, they go to the different tables. So you have 3 tables, and apparently everyone in this tavern is depressed and never shares tables. So if your first 3 draws are customers, they go to your 3 tables, and then your tables are full and your turn's over. But otherwise, if you get like the waitress and beer supplier and things like that, you can get different amounts of beer, and then you spend dice, go to different things to do different actions. So like you give customers beer with like 1s and 2s, and you can use other numbers for other things. And there's a communal tableau where you can get other customers. You're trying to like entice customers to come to your tavern instead of other people's. And some of those will use a wider spread of dice for what beer they'll accept. And then there's like a generic stack of the same customer that anybody can get from. And you're just trying to get customers into your tavern and build up your tavern. Ideally, hopefully getting more tables so you can draw more cards before your tables are full. Things like that.
Seems neat. Probably be another very good game like the last couple he's put out.
Yeah. So the link that we'll have in the show notes has a whole lot more information about this game.
That is a large preview on
Yes.
BGG.
Yeah. So
Very big.
one thing it does say is that it does seem to be a game kind of like Quacks, where it can be very swingy. You might just have real shit card draws, and then you might get a run of good ones.
Been there.
And so it kind of be all over the place. So, yeah, there you go. That's Tavernen.
And last up in news this week, Rodney has released a video that is interesting in his views for reviews.
Yeah, so this came out almost 2 weeks ago, but we had the Dread episode, so we didn't get to talk about it last week. But it's a show from Table Talk, which is the show that Rodney does through Board Game Geek, and it's titled Show Me the Money. There'll be a link in the show notes if you want to watch it. But basically, he dives into the kind of controversy about paid previews versus paid reviews, and talks about those. And in kind of a surprising twist to this, he ends up kind of framing the whole conversation a little bit, moving it towards the discussion about, reviewers putting time and effort and a lot of their own money into reviewing, but then the weird expectation that they shouldn't ever accept money for reviewing. And so he doesn't really give any things that he thinks like, oh yeah, reviewers should get paid necessarily, but he definitely kind of makes the point that like, hey, if you really like a reviewer, maybe support them if you think they're worth some amount of support for either the entertainment or the knowledge that they provide, kind of a thing. He talks about how he doesn't do reviews, and so he has no problem getting paid. Yeah. But he says, he even brings up a good point that for there is a limited amount of bias even in his videos, in that he chooses what to cover. So that shows basically if it's on his channel, it's a game he likes and wants to cover. So that can be used kind of as a editorial type bit of information.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty cool video. It's only 14 minutes and some change. So, but it was kind of surprising to see Rodney come out as a supporter of the like, hey, reviewers are people too and deserve compensation for their work.
Yeah.
So,
and then,
yeah,
a bunch of other conversations around people disagreeing with that, I'm sure, in the comments.
Yeah. He referenced Scott Nicholson, who was like the very, very first person to do a YouTube board game review.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott shows up in the comments on the YouTube channel, and he says that one of his regrets is that he did not start with a compensation model. Because back when he did board games with Scott, he did it as just an amateur doing it because it was something he loved, and he just did it for fun.
Yeah.
And the quality was super low, and there was very low production overhead, and so it was easy for him to do it for free.
Yeah.
Nowadays, because of, people like Rodney who do amazing jobs, the quality bar has been set quite high.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And quality takes time, effort, and money. All three.
Unfortunately.
Not
that we would know anything about that.
Yeah.
we went for quantity.
We've heard that it takes. Yeah, that's quantity is easy because you just do it.
Well, we've seen it. Like every time we put a little bit more money in the show, the quality ekes up there. But
we have gotten many compliments over our sound quality.
Yeah. Well,
the sound that we put into the microphones, however, is not of quality.
No.
Yeah.
But it goes to your ear holes. Sounding real nice garbage.
Yes. Yeah. It's the nicest garbage you'll ever hear.
Absolutely. Straight garbage to your ear holes.
Dulcet tones the whole way down.
Maybe straight garbage to your eye holes sometime soon.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so go check the video out. Maybe it'll reinforce your already passionate desire for supporting creators.
Yeah. Or
maybe it'll give you a new perspective if you're like, fuck creators.
Yeah, fuck us. Phrasing.
That wraps up news, though.
Yes,
so
it
we're
does.
done with news.
And we go on to the tiny-ish Kickstarter section. First up in Kickstarter this week is Icaion?
Icaion? I have no fucking clue.
Icaion. But it is very well funded. $349,000 of its $78,000 goal, over 3,100 backers, less than a week left to go, but it will cost you $106.
Yep. We're starting off right away with our $100 miniature game of the week. This is the second in the Mysthia universe trilogy, which will ultimately wrap up with Mysthia the Fall later. So this is the second chapter, and it ends with Mysthia the Fall, which is a standalone game that can be made with Mysthia and whatever this game is called. Icaion? I have no idea. Nothing about my knowledge of any language prepares me of how to pronounce that word.
And it's not much.
No. But it's a Euro game, engine territory building and resource management for 2 to 5 players. And in it, you are a seeker, aka an expert adventurer sent out by the organization to go hunt for artifacts, quoam, relics, and remnants from the ancient times. You'll lead convoys and be fighting off different dangers and things and trying to stop an infestation that is spreading across the land. Not a lot of information is often the case with some of these $100 miniature games about how to actually play. It's mostly a Kickstarter highlighting how sweet their components are.
To be fair,
pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. Really good artwork. Some really cool minis, including like a giant freaking Colossus. That's a weird creature that has a giant shard just jutting through it that I guess powers it. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Bunch of different Survivor minis, things like that. All kind of really interesting miniatures. Some of them kind of dark and creepy. Bunch of different boards, big double-sided game board, division boards, event board, a whole bunch of different tokens and cards and things like that. And like I said, the art on the cards is really pretty good.
It's definitely got a neat style.
Yeah. I don't remember ever talking about Mysthia, but maybe we did.
And you can get it on this Kickstarter, too.
If you want to throw just all kinds of money at them. So you choose your seeker and draw specialized gear. I found somewhere way down here a little bit of overview of how to play. Then you deploy your machines to get tactical advantages, and then you be aware of the Colossus. God damn it, they tricked me. They did like 2 slides that seemed like it was going to tell you how to play, and then it's just like, oh yeah, there's encounters.
And there is a run through from
you can download the rule book, and there is a Rado run through.
So you get about 20% of what's going on.
Yeah.
And 10% of wrong.
And then you can do a conflux game, which is where you take, like I said, Mysthia and Icaion, and I'm going to try and say it different every single time.
Well, that's what you're doing. So
and combine them together to create a unique standalone cooperative game. And there's another video from Rado explaining how that works. But yeah,
rulebook looks good. Passes the smell test significantly.
It's not a blatant ripoff of a CMON game?
No.
Okay, good. That's the bar now.
Yeah. It looks neat.
Yeah.
No idea how to say it, but that's okay.
Give it one more try, Jeff.
Icaion? I don't know.
Icaion.
Yeah. It's a lot of letters in a weird position that my English tongue does not enjoy.
Yeah, man. Anyway, that's that one. $100 miniature game of the week. Done and over now. Next up on Kickstarter.
Next up on Kickstarter is Egizia. Another really easy one to spell.
Yeah.
Very well funded, $51,000 of its $10,000 goal, 1,200 backers, and only about 4 days left on this one, which you can get for $39. This one comes from Stronghold. Hot off the Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, their partnership with Indie Boards and Cards got them all over Kickstarter real quick like. So Egizia is Egizia Shifting Sands is a new streamlined update of the older game Egizia, where you're going to be traveling down the Nile, placing boats, collecting resources, and trying to construct Egypt's most famous monuments. Shifting Sands includes new monuments, new cards to collect, and a shifting river. If you aren't familiar with Egizia, they give you a link to that BGG page and then a BGG page to the Shifting Sands so you can compare the two. Bunch of stuff coming in this box, especially considering it's a $39 plus shipping and taxes.
Yeah.
A large double-sided game board, bunch of different Nile cards, bricks, ships, crew tokens, player tableaus, a whole bunch of other tokens, double-sided lap markers. So if you run around the score track, you can mark that. And a bunch of Kickstarter exclusives like obelisk and pyramid overlays, a classic Egizia board, and UV and foil stamp on the cover.
Yeah, I guess the Shifting Sands will change the board, and they'll actually have the classic original board in the Kickstarter version, but only in the Kickstarter version.
Correct.
Seems neat.
Yeah.
Card drafting.
Drafting worker placement game. Plays 2 to 4 players. Takes about 90 minutes. They've got a bunch of videos on the Kickstarter, and a draft of the rule book is up. And then there's going to be milestones instead of stretch goals, but I think they're just basically stretch goals. Or no, they're not stretch goals. They're just a new reward that they're announcing every day of the Kickstarter to continue to build hype.
Oh, I've seen that. I've seen other ones do that before.
So
I want to say they did that for Turmoil too.
I think they did, yeah. So they had a day 0, they had a funded, a day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through the end of the campaign after 14 days.
Yeah. It was like promos every day.
Yeah, and they're almost all Kickstarter exclusive. The only thing that's not is the thicker player boards and the spot UV foil stamp covers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Egizia, Shifting Sands. If you were familiar with the older game and wanted to get in, or if you just want a cool worker placement game kind of set in Egypt.
Yeah, the original was from like 2009 and is, I think, very much not in print anymore. So
gotcha.
This is definitely the time to buy it for not $120.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up and last up in Kickstarter is MonstroCity Rampage. Just funded $33,000 of its $20,000 goal, 531 backers, a little bit less than 2 weeks left to go, and you can get it for $65.
You didn't want to just say MonstroCity?
MonstroCity.
Put an emphasis on the wrong syllable.
I mean, the capitalization in the title would make it out to seem like it's
MonstroCity.
No, I would disagree on here on my iphone that it's
so MonstroCity is a real-time co-op speed dice smash the city game that elevates your adrenaline levels to the maximum.
That's what I want in my board gaming.
Yes.
Just so much
Heart
adrenaline.
racing.
Yeah.
So it 1 to 4 player game, takes about 30 minutes, and in it you're going to be fighting the evil genius Dr. Spotnik with your monster squad. You assume the role of monsters, you form a squad, and then you are sent to level the secret base of Dr. Spotnik in this city. Your objective is to smash all the buildings and crush the city's defenses as you go after the bad guy? Like, you're not the bad guy as you smash an entire city?
Nope. It's collateral damage. Sounds like you've never heard of a war before.
Plays over 5 2-minute rounds. And the city will be retaliating as they send out tanks, choppers, riots, and more in this action-packed game. So, yeah, whole bunch of stuff in this one. Different monsters like Bobzilla, Max Horn, and Tortoiseshell.
Great.
A game board that's divided into different city blocks. A city board that has a tracker for the city's health. A police board. Same thing, a bunch of different cards, foldable buildings. So you like fold them and make actual like 3D buildings, different bases and rooftops. So that's like a card that folds around for the sides, and then the top and bottom are like good hard plastic pieces that sit down over them. 16 custom dice, a bunch of different markers and things to track your rage and shit like that. Blocking tokens, plastic police cars, just all kinds of shit. And then a bunch of stretch goals that upgrade all of the things even more. Yeah, bunch of different stuff. Seems to me like maybe kind of a cooperative, dicey rampage.
Yeah, it's got some decent minis for all the monsters that are pretty large scale.
Yeah. And it does one of those things that I do like where all the stretch goal stuff gets put into like an expansion box that you can then buy later, but you're getting for free by backing this one.
Yeah.
Seems like it'd be kind of right up your alley there, Zach.
No, I definitely try it. I like destroying things. And
Monster Smashy games.
Monster Smashy
games.
Apparently, it's kind of got a real time element in there. It's going to be a timer app.
Yeah, 2 5-minute rounds. Mentioned that. They're real time 5-minute rounds.
5 2-minute rounds.
You're right. Smash the city's defenses in 5 2-minute rounds. 5
rounds of 2 minutes gives you so much more time than 2 rounds of 5 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, depending on the downtime between the rounds, yes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that wraps up Kickstarters, though. Go check out MonstroCity if you sound intrigued. With news and Kickstarter all done, we move to Jeff's favorite part of the show, listener feedback. Starting with emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com. If you would like to send us an email, we begin this email section with an email.
What? That doesn't sound right.
Lies and blasphemy.
From Matt. Hello, Quarter League Aloft Contest fellas. Quarter League. Oh, mile.
Yeah.
A quarter league is a mile.
And a game is a contest.
Yeah. Fellas.
Guys.
Are you sure?
So you used to start saying, hey, fellas.
Hey, fellas. That is somehow way less gender neutral than guys.
Yeah.
I just wanted to drop you a quick note of thank you for being a reasonable voice in gaming. These past 2 weeks, month at this point, most of gaming communities I belong to on the internet have been a hyperbolic flame war over the tariff story and the Stonemaier games drama. But then I listen to you and I hear a fair and reasonable conversation that doesn't assume anything.
We clearly did something wrong.
Yeah.
Ugh.
No, that should be our tagline. Just fair and balanced.
Yeah.
Fair and reasonable, sir.
Yeah.
It was also pleasing to hear how you responded to the criticism about gendered insults. I appreciated Adrian, or however the hell he spells it.
You spelled it correct.
Indeed. Being honest about his initial reaction to it. Showing that when we are corrected on things like this, it's okay to evolve your thinking is great. One of you mentioned not being sure what to use as a gender-free term. I like folks.
It was Adrian who wasn't sure.
Well, it's not so much that I'm not sure. It's just that it's been an area where I've struggled to move from using guys as my gender neutral to something like y'all, which is what I tend to default to. Folks is another one, but they both just feel so southern and antiquated. I want a modern gender neutral term.
Y'all.
Hey, people.
Hey, you folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, just wanted to say thanks for being a reasonable voice in my gaming echo chamber. Oh, and you can read this if you want, but it might sound a little self-serving. Your call.
Oh, we'll definitely read it then.
Too late.
Yeah.
Matt in Columbus, one of the many silent in Slack.
Yeah. Of course, we're going to read something that is somebody telling us that we did something they liked. That just makes us feel good about ourselves.
That's the hope, at least.
Yes.
Yes.
Next up is Alex from France,
who told us he was going to get drunk and send us something.
As is tradition.
Yeah.
Hi, MHGG, is this titled. Hi, folks. It's 1 a.m. here, and I have a pseudo whiskey glass nearby, so I guess it's time for an email. First, I hope Jeff's bones will solidify soon, especially his fibula, even if it's not that important for everyday life. If I have understood well his comments about his recovery. Yeah, the fibulas, we'll find out.
Still a little liquidy?
Still a little moist. Not quite dry yet.
Nah.
Like a moist fibula.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, really, I think the problem is that you don't have a sticker up that says caution, wet fibula here.
Yeah.
People stop walking on it.
Yes. Yeah. We'll find out in like 2 weeks what the doctors look at it again and see. I don't know if I have to get another CT scan.
Gotcha.
Or if they can figure out on x-rays. So we will find out then. But the fibula is probably still going to be as broken as it was. And that will probably require a second minor surgery. As long as the tibia starts healing better, then I won't need a second major surgery.
Right.
Yeah. Second, I'm impressed with Adrian's 12-hour shifts. I've never heard any mention of my email. Maybe it was lost in translation, so to speak. So have you bought yourself a back to work gift?
So there is an older email from Alex from March that I don't know if we had missed, just titled miscellaneous.
Okay.
And he did, because that was right around the time I got my new job, and he did ask some questions about, well done for the new job, at least I guess so. I'm still confused about your exact current situation. Is it 100% sure you will work in this worldwide medical something company that pays well? Which that was sent on March 3rd, at which point, no, that was not certain, but it was certain enough that I quit my shitty appliance job.
Yeah.
And so here we are almost 90 days later, and yes, things are going well there. The closest thing I did to a back to work gift, I think, I'm trying to remember that, because there were, for one, I finally paid off a lot of money that I owed, because it turns out a year and a half of various amounts of under/unemployment accrues some debts. I actually got you guys back to work gifts because, like, hey, I have a good job again. I can buy you Christmas gifts in March.
Coming soon, Game of Thrones playmat.
Yep, at some point.
Yep.
At some point, maybe by next Christmas.
Yeah.
I will get my Christmas gifts.
Yes.
And then I backed a few Kickstarters. You know, I was able to actually get in on 1824, 18 Chesapeake, and Terraforming Mars, and something else. So yes, I have used my newfound income to buy things.
On Slacker during the podcast episodes, you said positive things about 18 Chesapeake. So did you back it?
Yes. I got a group together of, I think, 4 or 5. I don't remember what the pledge level was. People here in the local Mile High Game Guys Wednesday game night group to all jump in on it and put in a big group pledge. So I had access to play a first batch copy. I had a chance to buy a first batch copy when he was selling them, but I didn't have money when he was selling them.
Aha.
So
Alex from France continues. Have any of you kept playing Arkham Horror, the LCG? No, because I fell off buying all of the
by never buying any
Mythos
of it.
packs. I did buy some.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
When they were getting hard to find, and I started buying them as they came out, and I bought another like 3 or 4. But I didn't have access to like the first set and like the first 2 of the second one, and then I was just like, I can't do this. I don't have a complete set.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Not to brag, but I love this game, and I'm quite happy with the pack reviews I post on YouTube in French. It's way easier for me. Now I need to learn how to create a jingle to join the cool guys band of people with intro and outro jingles. You just have to have BFF CJ back in Chicago that doesn't do anything but work at a candy factory and work on music and watch Star Wars.
yeah, which we'll need to talk to CJ.
Yeah,
probably here coming up.
Yeah. Next weekend, there is the closest board gaming con ever for me, literally 15 minutes from my flat. It's also the release week for Escape Plan here, and Route First French version should not be that far away. Have fun, guys. I'm eager to listen to your next episode. Yours sincerely, Alexander Piquet. P.S. There's no mail like drunken mail.
This is correct.
That's it for emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Indeed. There was one YouTube comment from M on the episode 144, A Change of Plans, and he just said, no! So,
because we didn't.
So I'm sure he's fine.
I'm sure that was not Paulo murdering him.
No.
There are some responses over on BGG. Zach, do you have those ready?
This first one is from our Jurassic Dread episodes. This is from Eric. I would absolutely love to play a Jurassic Park themed Dread game. So jealous. Is it an official setting or a homebrew? Adrian?
It was homebrew. So there is a subreddit for Dread on Reddit. And in there, somebody had posted about their ideas for Jurassic Dread. They had went a little bit further. I didn't follow their framework very much. I went very homebrew with this one. I kind of made up some characters for you. I didn't use the ones that they had. They had like I used similar ones. Like they had like an attorney, or no, it wasn't an attorney. They had, I don't know, somebody else, like an investor, a dock worker. I did steal a security guard, which I turned into Jeff's character, the game warden. And then it had some other stupid character that I didn't like. So I changed the characters around a little bit. But
Did you say there was a lawyer in there? Or
No.
Okay.
No, it was like an investor or something instead of a lawyer. So mostly it was tweaking the roles, especially when you specifically said you wanted to be a dinosaur lawyer.
Yeah.
And then there were a couple other things that I was able to find in various RPG subreddits and threads and things on RPG Geek or Reddit or Stack Exchange, where there have been multiple people who've used Jurassic Park as a setting for Dread, basically. And so I was able to kind of pick little bits and pieces from there.
Gotcha.
I lost my train of thought. But yeah,
I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to help you though.
It was all homebrew. There's, as far as I'm aware, there's not. I mean, I know the main Dread pack I bought when we did the first one had 3 scenarios. I'm not really aware of any other official scenarios for Dread, but maybe there are more, and maybe there is a Jurassic Park one that I didn't find.
But the one you were using,
one I used specifically on that episode was homebrew.
Yeah, and so that's why it was just a combination of the and a combination of the movie and the book. But as people who had seen the movie and read the book, we're like, well, we're gonna stay away from these areas.
Yeah, a lot of that made things more difficult.
Yeah.
Let's just hang out next to this Tyrannosaurus skeleton for the next 12 hours or so.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Nothing could be bad here. Stealth T-Rex.
Yeah. No, that's to help us. So if something else comes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just standing off screen waiting for something else to attack you. And then
the Spinosaurus to come, and then the Spinosaurus will kill it. And then people will get mad at that. And so in all future instances, the T-Rex will be invincible.
Correct.
Yeah. There was also a thread that got posted over there.
So it's just on Origins, and this guy David's like, who's going to Origins? And so he listed some games he'd want to play. So if you're going to Origins...
What games, Zach?
6 games and a couple small card games.
Was there an XX in any of them?
No
Okay.
XX.
No,
but
not even a 1X.
Wow.
Just all non-X related things.
Ignoring an entire letter of the alphabet.
I like it. So you get Antiquity, Food Chain Magnet, Concordia, Feast of Odin, Root, Battle Lore 2, and expansions for those. So
yeah, for pretty much all of them.
Yep. So if you're interested, if you're going to Origins,
I wish I was going to Origins. It just unfortunately is still too soon after the new job.
Yep.
Because I really liked Origins last year.
Jeff,
you might be maybe going?
Maybe, but I don't.
That's like
starting to fall apart.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago or 2 weeks from now.
And
yeah,
it's
right around the corner.
And I'd have to be out of work for like 4 days,
Right.
like leave Tuesday.
Oof.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah.
You didn't accrue 4 days worth of time off in that?
I have the way our work works is you get all of your vacation time at the beginning of the year.
Gotcha.
For the whole year.
That's the way my old job used to be at the old machine shop. It was just like, here's your anniversary and here's your 3 weeks of paid vacation.
Yep.
I don't know which I prefer.
I prefer the
accrue it so you don't just blow through it all in one shot. Yeah.
Well, if I didn't, I would have lost all my health insurance because I would have had to go to part-time because I would not have been able to work. And so it's good that I had that all to take those time off.
You like if you couldn't show up for days, they're like, all right, you're going to part-time.
Yeah, and I'd lose all my benefits.
Really?
We're not big enough for the Family Medical Leave Act. You have to have more than 50 employees within 75 miles. So I don't even have that protection.
Christ.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Need to play Feast for Odin, especially since I finally built that insert.
Just in time for the expansion.
And since you just got the expansion.
Yeah, that's why I built the insert, so I could put the
expansion not in there.
Yes. Yeah. So it's 2 boxes. They look nice. Next to each other on a shelf, though.
Yeah.
Continuous art.
Yeah.
So that's it.
And Patrick said he'll be there and up for a game.
Yes.
So if you're going to Origins, jump on that
lives
thread.
in like Dayton, right?
Yeah.
So, which is not far from Columbus.
But yeah, so plenty of so people are organizing. Mile High Game Guy fans are organizing games at Origins in BGG. So go check it out. That concludes all of our listener feedback for this episode. If you want to get a hold of us, you can always send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can jump over to our Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where you can post your own threads about games you're going to play at conventions or comment on episode posts that Zach puts up every week. All of that up to you. You can also find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have Facebook and Instagram, both /Mile High Game Guys. And we have our website, milehighgameguys.com, which has links to the aforementioned guild, as well as to our Slack channel and our Patreon. So if you want to join Slack and bullshit with us and a bunch of our other fans and local friends, you can do so. If you want to support the show, you can do so. If you want to go read the long description of the German pub game that I already forgot the name of, there's a link for that in the show notes for this episode. There's a link to that video from Rodney. All those things we talk about, links in the show notes on the website. Go check it out. Yeah, that's all the different ways to get a hold of us. As always, on Wednesday episodes, we would like to thank our sponsors, Gray Fox Games, for continuing to support the show. One of their more recent Kickstarters, Run, Fight, Die, Reloaded, is in the final steps of fulfillment. So it'll be showing up pretty soon. And if you're interested in getting your hands on a copy, it is available for pre-order right now.
Saw it at Geekway. Looks nice.
Did you get a chance to play it?
No, did not get a chance to play it. They had the full setup there like the day one, but as other things sort of took over the table, the copy kind of went away. I think it was being used in other facilities at the time.
Gotcha.
Looks nice. I saw it at Gen Con when it was like in Kickstarter last year. It's a big box of a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
I was expecting a smaller game, and it is a much bigger game than I was expecting.
It is a large game.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested in it, you can go check out its Kickstarter page and look over how to play and rules and art and components. And then there's a link right up there at the top of that Kickstarter page to pre-order it now. Or you can jump over to grayfoxgames.com/runfightorDieReloaded, dashes in between those words. And there's pre-orders available there, as well as some more information about the game. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement regarding our sponsors?
Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, look, I'm not exaggerating when I say the success of your mission hinges on how you use that cardboard box. But in the end, a cardboard box is only made of paper. Handle it with care, and it won't be of much use to you. Don't think of it as just another box. Treat it with love. Don't be rough, okay?
Are you talking cardboard like game boxes?
I'm so
now?
confused. Yeah, I don't.
No, like a cardboard box you hide in.
I know.
Cool. Well, that concludes this Wednesday's episode. Be sure to tune in on Friday for our review of Cryptid. And if you haven't listened to it, listen to last week's episodes where we had the 2-part Dread experience. You can hear Zach do a redonkulous,
Wildly inconsistent
Southern gentleman accent.
A Southern gentleman.
Yes. That wraps up everything. Thanks for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
I'm Strange Beast Jeff.
Bye.
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 Where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.